Join me in painting a magical winter scene for a Christmas card using watercolor. In this video, we will paint Santa Claus depicted as a charming gnome walking through a snowy landscape. Here is a sketch needed for this painting. You can pause the video to sketch it out before we begin the painting process. The first step in this painting process is painting the background. We use the wet on wet technique to paint the background. For this, we have to mix Prussian blue with a small amount of permanent orange to desaturate the blue, which results in a slightly muted tone, which is perfect for the background. The consistency of the pigment should not be too watery or too thick. It should be like a thick syrup, but not as thick as cream or butter. Since I want a dark background, I use this syrup-like consistency. With this consistency, the paint flows smoothly and you can easily apply the salt technique for a beautiful background effect. Now I'm using a size 8 round brush to paint along the pencil sketch, and also being careful not to paint inside the Santa Claus. After painting the background, I tilt the board and wipe away any excess pigment near the masking tape with a cloth. Once the paper is damp, it's ready for the salt technique. I sprinkle the salt and then swiftly move on to paint the foreground using the same pigment which I use for the background, but in a very light value. After that, I dry the paper with a hair dryer. Now that the paper is completely dry, I gently scrub the salt off. Next, I move on to the second step, that is painting Santa Claus. For the outfit, I use vermilion hue. Since this Santa is reimagined as a gnome, he is a bit shorter, adding a unique twist to the Christmas theme. I choose to depict him as a gnome to give a fresh magical touch to our holiday card. I'm using the wet on wet technique to paint the Santa Claus outfit, but you can also use the wet on dry technique if you prefer. Since Santa is holding a sack, his elbow is bent, creating a shadow near the elbow. To paint this shadow, I apply Prussian blue over the red pigment. I use the same vermilion hue to paint Santa Claus's hat, leaving some white area for the fur trim. For the sack, I mix permanent orange with a small amount of Prussian blue to create a light brown shade. This is then used to paint the sack. Now I'm mixing more Prussian blue with permanent orange to achieve a darker brown, which I use to paint the boots of the gnome. Now I use a very light value of orange to paint Santa Claus's forehead and mouth. Next I use a light value of Prussian blue to paint the shadow around the beard and gloves, adding a depth and dimension to the figure. Using the same pigment from the background, I paint the shadow under the Santa Claus. Finally, I add the eyes to Santa Claus. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more watercolor painting videos. See you in next video. Until then, take care and bye bye from Prema.